So it's obviously a big weekend in the Senior Six Nations. Plenty of fascinating subplots across the final weekend. But Murray, as we said at the top of the show, it's a huge weekend in Colin Bay for Noel McNamara's under-20s. They're going for a Grand Slam, just the second Ireland side to win a under-20s Grand Slam if they can do it, following the 2017, which included the likes of Cian Healy, Darren Cave and Ian Keatley. So a huge achievement if they can do it. They've been absolutely superb throughout the whole tournament. They just one final box to tick. It should be a great encounter.
Yeah, it's already a great achievement to win that championship with a game to spare. They've been really impressive. So many good prospects in this team. And most importantly, a really well gelled together unit, well coached, I think it looks like. So credit to the coaching team there. Really good news that they're going to have their halfbacks fit. Craig Casey, who I think a lot of people are justifiably excited about. He looks like a superb prospect. Obviously a short scrum half, but he more than makes up for it in his fiery attitude, brilliant passing game, really clever around the fringes, and as we saw, well able to get stuck in. That tackle on Jordan Joseph last Friday was superb, and a real kind of game defining and momentum shifting moment. He was unlucky to go off injured, but fortunately passes fit. Harry Byrne is back in after missing that game as well. Although Ben Healy did a superb job, and Cormac Foley as well at scrum half, when he's been called on, he's done really well as well. So there's actually a bit of depth in the squad, which is even more exciting for Irish rugby. I mean, you've been there watching nearly all the games. What have you made of it?
I think one of the big things, hasn't it, been the success you see is just the consistency in selection. You mentioned there just one change this week, but even when the likes of Casey and Byrne have had to go off or had to pull out through injury, they've had someone to step up. I mean, the pack has remained unchanged for the 5 games, which is incredible when you think of, you know, they're not the biggest pack either. I mean, Thomas Clarkson, I was talking to him during the week, and he does not strike you as a prop. You know, he's quite small, and he admitted himself. But his sound technique, they've won 24 out of 24 of their own scrums throughout the championship. It's given the platform for the backs, as we said, the half backs to kind of pull the strings, and they've come together as a team really, really well. It's been fascinating to hear Noel McNamara and actually a couple of the players talk about it themselves, is that they had a pre-championship training camp down in Fota, and it's obviously easy to say in hindsight because they've gone on and won the championship. They're now going for a Grand Slam, but that was kind of the week that it all came together for them. This team has been together since kind of under 18, so they've been, say, 2 years together, added a few players here and there, but they didn't feel like a team back then. Thomas Clarkson again spoke about it during the week. That photo camp was the kind of the defining moment for them. They felt like a team going into that England game, and you know, say the 2 home games against England and France. You know, you're looking at the opposition teams, and they're obviously a lot bigger in size. They've got a lot more experience. You know, guys have played in the Premiership, guys have played in top 14. And they've just embraced that whole challenge of playing down in Cork as well. It's been a brilliant addition to that. So, you know, Noel McNamara has done an unbelievable job, and he's just so fascinating to listen to because he loves coaching. I asked him the other day actually where would this rank in his coaching achievements, and you know, his answer was brilliant. It wouldn't rank anywhere. He enjoys coaching the Clongowes under 13s as much as he does leading the under 20s to a championship and a potentially a Grand Slam, which is a brilliant attitude. And he's really handed over the kind of the initiative and all the responsibility to the team, and they've embraced that, as we said. So and they've got some superb talent, as you say, in that team. We've mentioned a couple, but the likes of, you know, Scott Penny, Josh Wycherley, you know, you look Jake Flannery, they're all super prospects, and there's no real stars that stand out. You know, they're just a collective bunch that perform and get on really well together.
And that's it. And just his pathway is actually really interesting. I think it's really encouraging for a lot of coaches in the country to see a guy who wasn't a pro player, who didn't have a big reputation coming out of rugby that way, rising through the ranks. Now, obviously, there's still a number of steps for him to take, hopefully, from his point of view, but he's gone through UL, he's gone through Glenstall, Clongowes, some great success in the Leinster Schools Cup, through the age grade teams with Leinster and Ireland, and the elite player development officer role as well with Leinster now, and he's continuing to rise, and clearly his coaching intellect is very advanced. He's, as you say, he's a great student of it, and you'll often quote John Wooden to you or another coach, but always making sense. And it's just fascinating that you don't have to be a good player to be a good coach. I think that's always been something that I've believed, and I think it's great for other people to see him excelling in it. So long may that continue, and hopefully it is a bit of an inspiration to other people who don't have that CV.
Yeah, it's one of the big things he brought in this year was the leadership group, and you'll actually be able to read the piece on the 42 on Friday morning, but he talks about, at that age, there's too much emphasis on a captain, and this whole thing about in Ireland having, you know, the captain put on a pedestal and all that kind of stuff, and that nearly weighed them down last year. I think if you remember, you know, there was nearly an injury curse for the captain. They lost, you know, every time someone was made captain, they suffered an injury. Whereas this year, you know, obviously David Hawkshaw was appointed captain, but you know, Charlie Ryan stepped up in his absence last week, and it's kind of been a seamless transition. There's an overall leadership group, and the players are taking responsibility. He joked that he tried to change something in week 3, and the players actually told him, no, we don't want that changed. And that's, you know, that's obviously a very healthy environment that the players can request that, and they're like, no, this is the best thing for us. So yeah, like absolutely fascinating. Just hope they can finish the job tomorrow. The under-20s have never actually won at Colin Bay, which is slightly worrying in one sense, but you'd imagine that they've done everything right so far in this championship, that they can just get over that one final hurdle. And as they said themselves, it's just one final task. Just do it one more time, what they'll love that. They'll love that challenge. They're such a driven group.